Most people think presence is softness. We picture a monk in meditation or the stillness we feel in shavasana at the end of a spicy yoga practice. And yes, these are examples of presence, but they're not the full picture. In reality, presence is not passive. And while it is always clarifying, it is not always kind. When presence is real, it annihilates everything false that stands in its wake. It doesn't soothe distortion, it filters it. This common misconception of presence, that it is fluid and passive and endlessly open, creates permeability in behavior. And that translates to energetic and boundary leakage. Openness without containment dissolves the line between where you end and where the world or other people begin. And when that line dissolves, there's an unconscious loss of self-respect. With that orientation, you allow things that you wouldn't actually choose. Because when everything is allowed in, nothing can be held with integrity. There is an entire economy built around the performance of presence. Not presence as embodiment, but presence as display. It often comes in the form of a soft voice, open posture, endless availability. Spiritual language is social currency. In this economy, presence is something you signal, not something you actually hold. And here, softness is praised, while boundaries are quietly but unmistakably discouraged. Containment gets mislabeled as defensiveness, discernment gets framed as fear, and clarity gets mistaken for rigidity. People learn to perform presence in ways that are palatable and digestible and non-threatening, even when it costs them. This economy doesn't reward truth, it rewards access. It also extracts your attention, your emotional labor, your availability, your willingness to stay open beyond your capacity. And the more present you appear, the more is expected of you. I haven't become less present, I just stopped broadcasting it. I stopped offering my openness as proof of goodness. I stopped keeping the field warm just so other people would feel comfortable inside it. And none of that made my presence disappear, it actually condensed it. Instead of being constantly open and available, I had discernment. A clean signal feels very, very different from a warm one. Warm signals want to be felt. Clean signals do not need to announce themselves. Because when your signal is clean, no one is confused about where you stand. You don't ask to be understood or met. You don't over-explain. You don't keep the door open just in case. You know where it ends. And because of that awareness, you're never guessing anything. You're not negotiating. You're not performing. You're literally just there. Present in the truest and most accurate sense of the word. When presence is precise, very little needs to be said. And people learn quickly to not extract more. They orient themselves. They stop probing, they stop testing. There's less and less unconscious reaching for reassurance or explanation. And conversations just get shorter and cleaner. Energy doesn't trail behind you the way it used to when you leave the room. And the reason is simple. You're not managing how you're perceived anymore. You're not tracking reactions. You're not adjusting yourself in real time to stay palatable or understood. You don't need to clarify what you want or what you need. You don't need to clarify what you meant. You don't need to soften the edges of your truth so it lands better. You know that what's meant to land lands, and what doesn't, doesn't. You stop working so hard to be felt, and somehow, ironically, you're felt more accurately. This shift does not announce itself. There's no big moment where you declare a new way of being. Things actually just get quieter. Fewer conversations demand your energy. Fewer situations require explanation. Fewer people misunderstand you, and fewer of those misunderstandings feel urgent to correct. What gets clearer isn't just your boundaries, it's your entire field. Interactions either meet you where you are, or they fall away without friction. You don't have to justify your distance. You don't have to translate yourself into something more accessible. What used to require effort now requires nothing. And what once felt like withdrawal starts to feel like integrity. Life becomes quieter, spacious, steady, because there's finally nothing leaking out. This work is supported by the people it serves. The Patronage link in the description box below is how. Where are you still mistaking openness for presence? And what would change if you let discernment do the work instead? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here. Talk soon.